Hey guys, it's State of Soccer TV, and we're live with some breaking news of Weston McKennie's injury update. I want to get you guys the quickest news possible. And in the 81st minute of today's round of 16 match between Juventus and Villarreal, Weston McKennie went in for a challenge and broke his 2D and 3D metatarsal bone. Joining me today, I have Dr. Brian McDonough. Dr. Brian McDonough is a four-time Emmy Award winner. Spent 20 years on Fox Television, 32 years in counting, chief medical editor on KYW News Radio. He's been on our program before, State of Soccer. And Dr. McDonough, welcome today.
No, glad to be here. I wish I was here in better circumstances, though.
Yeah, so why don't you shed some light on Weston McKennie's injury and kind of, 2D, 3D metatarsal, what are we talking here?
Well, what you're talking about, the second and third metatarsals are actually these long bones that go into the toe. And essentially, those long bones can actually snap, fracture, sometimes through stress. In this case, from what it looks like, he got hit, kind of turned his ankle a bit, and that stress on the ankle was probably enough to just take those two bones and crack them. Now, the thing is, was it displaced, meaning is it out of a line? Or is it kind of just a fracture where it's a straight line? That will have a lot to do with how well he does. And I think that's the first important thing. Mm-hmm. But even in the best case scenario, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks of recovery because the treatment essentially is rest in most cases.
Okay, so Fabrizio Romano, who is on the scene in Italian soccer, Italian football, came out and said 8 to 12 weeks. So we're talking 2 to 3 months for Weston McKennie. The U.S. men's national team has World Cup qualifiers next month, late March. There's zero chance that Weston McKennie is back for the qualifiers. Is that true?
Well, here's the thing. I would say no, because first of all, let's assume that there is no surgery necessary, that it wasn't displaced and it has to be realigned. Let's just say you could do something like put him in a boot or a tubular sort of brace. It still takes time for those bones to heal. He's a young athlete. You don't want him out there hurting himself. Actually, wouldn't any athlete to hurt themselves. And I think that the fact that they said 3 months is also a reflection of the fact that you're talking about somebody who isn't just trying to get back to walk. Yeah. They're trying to get back and perform at an elite level. So I can't see that happening based on the reports we have, because apparently they took him back for x-rays. They've confirmed it. Those types of things clearly show it's an easy thing to see on an x-ray.
Mm-hmm. And perform is what Weston McKennie's doing right now. He's been the best player for the U.S. men's national team as well as Juventus as of late. Now, 2 to 3 months, best case scenario, Weston McKennie is back healthy, knock on wood. At that point in time, is this a potential injury that can linger? Or once you bypass the initial injury, 2D, 3D, are you in good shape if you're Weston McKennie?
I think usually you're in good shape. The thing is, you don't want to rush it. Because with the foot, think about it, all your weight's on the foot. Mm-hmm. You're using it all the time. If you rush it, you're more prone to injuries again. But if it heals, in most cases, you hear the stories about bones, they actually heal in a way stronger than they were in the first place. As long as it's aligned, and they make sure they do that. And then the second thing is they give him the time it takes to rest. And that's why I'm saying, I think he's 23 years old, big career ahead. As important as these games are, I think he needs to take the time to get better.
So everyone tuning in right now live on Twitter, we will also post this on YouTube later. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and make sure to hit like, retweet this right now. We're trying to get information out, valid, truthful information on the current status of Weston McKennie. I'm joined here live with Dr. Brian McDonough. Now, Dr. McDonough, a couple more things. 23 years old, Weston McKennie. So, he's built quite a name for himself, a career for himself. In soccer years, essentially he's entering the prime of his career, if not already there right now. Lingering effects we already touched on, but at what point in time do these players are their bodies essentially completely mature as an adult athlete? We had Giovanni Reina have a leg injury past. He just came back from that. Most of these players for the U.S. men's national team are at least under the age of 20. So what? This is a freak accident here, but growth injuries and different things like that. Can you talk a little bit about the human body and with young athletes, the amount of stress that's being put on them?
It all depends on how you do it. Obviously, exercise is great. Athletic activity is great. And a young person can push themselves and do really well. The question becomes, how hard do you push? Now, it looks like in this case, He was playing soccer. He's playing very well. He's well conditioned. It was more the way he was hit, the way his body went, and the torque. Basically, that's what really hurt him in this case. So a young person, he'll heal well because he is young. If you're older, you would have a tougher time. So I think that's in his favor. I don't know the wear and tear these athletes have. I do know studies on NBA basketball players. They've shown that, like 32-year-old players have knees that are like 50 and 60-year-old men because of the wear and tear and the constant pressure. So I'm sure soccer players have a great deal of pressure. But the nice thing is they do play on a more forgiving surface from that regard. I think more your injuries with soccer I worry about are more the head injuries and the repeated concussion from hitting the ball, those sorts of things. And actually, you're going to have these nasty leg and ankle injuries, but by and large, they're pretty well conditioned, and their core is usually there to help them as well.
So if you guys are interested in what Dr. Brian McDonough is saying, he actually elaborates more on these topics on his YouTube channel, Dr. Brian McDonough. That's where you can find him. He has a weekly podcast. Now, Dr. McDonough, first things first, with Weston McKennie having this injury, out 8 to 12 weeks, let's just say that. The next week or 2 weeks, would you say these are crucial at this point in time? And what would Weston McKennie be doing for the next week? Like, what's the remedy right away?
Right now, rest. Right now is rest. Take the pressure off. And there's going to be a temptation. Sometimes with these injuries, they don't hurt that bad. I mean, they hurt initially, but later on, you might not feel that bad. And the tendency is going to be to want to get out there and get there and train. And so he's going to have to do things once he rests to work on aerobic conditioning. It's a little tougher because, again, you don't want to be putting pressure on the foot. So it's going to be a battle coming back. Long term, I don't see it as a big issue, but unfortunately, this time of year, they're trying to get into the World Cup. It has to be very frustrating, I'm sure.
So Dr. Brian McDonough, thank you so much for joining us today and kind of giving us more detail on Weston McKennie's injury.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. And guys, I hope you enjoyed today's short segment, live update on Weston McKennie's injury. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.